Brave with Beauty, written by Maxine Rose Shore. A guide to some of the words in this story. Rumi. Jalal ad-Din Rumi was a 13th century Persian poet and scholar from Khorasan. His poems are still extremely popular and have been translated into many languages worldwide. Goharshad, queen, poet, architect, and patron of the arts. Her name means joyful jewel in Persian. Genghis Khan, one of the most famous conquerors in history. Genghis Khan was a 12th century warrior ruler from Mongolia. Hindu Kush, a great mountain range in Central Asia that stretches from Afghanistan to northern Pakistan. Hafiz, one of the most celebrated Persian poets. Hafiz composed numerous poems on love and spirituality. He lived in the 14th century. Herat, a city in western Afghanistan, once the capital of the Timurid Empire. Khorasan, a historical region that occupied areas in today's Iran, Turkmenistan, and Afghanistan. Kavam al-Din Shirazi, court architect responsible for the design and construction of the Friday Mosque in Mashhad, Iran, and the Musalla complex in Herat, Afghanistan. Mashhad, a city in eastern Iran, home to Goharshad's Grand Mosque. Badakhshan, a historic region now in the northeastern Afghanistan. 7 centuries ago, when the great caravans journeyed to the edges of the world, there lived a girl who loved all things of beauty. Her name was Goharshad. Her older brothers played at being conquerors. They wanted to be like Genghis Khan, a warrior so fierce on the battlefield that he would be remembered for thousands of years. Goharshad didn't care a fig for war. What she liked best was to imagine beautiful things to draw. With her little ivory box of paints, she would then paint the picture she saw in her mind. And she loved to make words. In the afternoon, when the sun topped the mountains of the Hindu Kush with glowing embers, Goharshad would pick up her brush made from a single squirrel hair. Holding it loosely in her hand, she shaped letters that stretched and whirled and danced. Stringing the letters together like pearls, she would copy words from poems like this one by the poet Hafiz. I pull a sun from my coin purse each day, and at night I let my pet, the moon, run freely into the sky meadow. If I whistled, she would turn her head and look at me. If I then waved my arms, she would come back wagging a marvelous tail of stars. Goharshad's brothers mocked her. You play at nonsense, they taunted. You're soft and fearful as a rabbit, but we're hard and brave as soldiers. It's true I'm not good with arrows or spears, she replied, but I am brave. I am brave with beauty. Her brothers howled with laughter. What you say makes no sense. One of them grabbed her papers, crumpled them into a ball, and threw it to his brother, who promptly flung it out the window. The two ran back to their games. Goharshad did not cry, and though she did not know exactly what being brave with beauty meant, she vowed, I will not be afraid, not now, not ever. One day I will make the most beautiful things in the world. On her 14th birthday, Goharshad was given in marriage to the powerful king Shahrukh. Suddenly, the dreamy young girl became a queen. From the citadel of Herat, she now ruled with her husband over the empire of Khorasan that stretched from Turkey to the very doorstep of China. Early one summer morning, she looked across the city from her balcony. Herat was awakening. She saw a fig seller making his way through the marketplace, pushing his cart piled with purple turban-shaped figs. She watched carpet traders unroll their rugs, making the ground look as if abloom with flowers. Pink hoopoe birds, bright as butterflies, fluttered over the market stalls on their way toward India. And on the Herat River, far in the distance, she spied a boat that appeared small as a leaf. It is as if the kingdom is made of many paintings, she mused. She imagined using her brushes to paint upon the scene in front of her. And yet this work of art feels incomplete. Perhaps I can add to its beauty. The more she thought about this, the more confident she became. she would begin. First, Goharshad imagined filling the kingdom with the wonder of music, and so she summoned the court musicians. Strumming and humming and drumming they came. Musicians crowded into the palace bearing their wondrous instruments: goatskin drums big as cartwheels, beetle wood harps, and strings of hawk bells so loud as to be heard in the next world. Goharshad was happy and asked everyone to play. When the music ended, she rose to speak. The palace fell silent. "Your music makes my heart sing," she said. She felt a bit nervous, but she gathered her courage and added, "I command you to compose and perform the most enchanting music each day. For your art you will be rewarded with gold coins aplenty." Gold coins aplenty! The musicians were thrilled, but they were in awe of their queen. They stood silent. Only the youngest, a boy who played the reed flute, dared to address her. "Where, great queen? Here at your court, or beyond, for the people of the city?" "Court and city both." "We can make music as playful as puppets or pious as prayer. Which does our queen prefer?" asked the boy. Goharshad thought about this for a moment, for she knew some in the kingdom would disagree. Yet she summoned her courage and answered, "Playful and pious both." The land grew rich with melody. The music was so lovely that people said they could see it, for it made pictures in their minds. "A herd of gazelles leaping across the Hindu Kush," mused an old woman. "A lover tossing violets across the path of his beloved," sighed a young man. A little girl heard it in a new sound, and whispered to herself, "It is the laughter of God." In the flowing music, Goharshad saw fountains and flowers and birds. One winter she sketched a plan for a garden. Within the garden's high walls she imagined a little paradise. When the garden was finally ready, people came from all around to enjoy it, to chat, read poetry, sip sweet tea, and share secrets. Roses scented the air with their perfume. Along narrow canals ran cold water that bubbled up in fountains, making a mist that delighted the hot and tired. And in the middle of the garden lay a pool of deep water. This water was so clear, people said if you looked into it closely, it would reflect your soul. When sun scorched the desert and the air hung so hot that stones seemed to quiver, the garden was glory. Marvelous as the garden was, Goharshad dreamed of creating something much bigger, a grand present for the western city of Mashhad. She spent weeks drawing pictures of a spectacular place of worship for the people of the city. She then called in the court architect, Kavam al-Din Shirazi, to discuss the project. "Forgive me, Queen of Queens," the architect said, bowing so low to the ground that his forehead touched the floor. "But it is not for a woman to design a college, nor a mosque. It is not for a woman to create such a grand and holy place." "Not in the past, perhaps," replied Queen Goharshad, "but now, with your talent, I will do it." And so the work on the mosque began, but right away it ran into trouble. The workers found a small cottage upon the land they wanted to build. Inside lived an old woman stubborn as stone. When she saw the builders, she cried, "If the queen is going to build a great mosque here with her name on it, then I want a mosque with my name on it too." "Don't cause trouble, old woman," warned the workers. "The blessed and goodly queen is willing to pay you a handsome sum for your dwelling. With the money you will receive, you can buy yourself a much finer home." "I won't sell at any price," the old woman retorted. "Queen Goharshad may have my cottage, but only if she builds a mosque bearing my name." A royal messenger galloped back to Herat to report this crazy request. When Goharshad heard the news, she was given much advice by her husband and sons. They told her to resist the demand of the foolish old woman. "She sets a bad example for the people," her adviser warned. "She must be put to death." But Goharshad stood firm, for she knew what she wanted. "No," she said, "the old woman is strong, and that is good. May God grant her peace. We will pay for her house, and we will make a small mosque in her name." "My queen, you are too generous. You need not do such a great thing for that wrinkled peasant." "Do not speak of this again," the queen ordered. "I will build two mosques, one bearing my name and one bearing hers." And she did. The following year, feeling the full courage within her, Goharshad decided to make something more magnificent than anything anyone had ever seen. Something she hoped would last well beyond her own life. She summoned the architect again. Here in Herat, I want to build a great center for learning, she told him, a college for girls, a grand mosque for prayer, and a vast library brimming with books of science, religion, literature, and art. All the buildings must be decorated with paint made from precious stones. She handed him a plan she had drawn of the buildings. We will design it together. Kavam al-Din Shirasi spoke his words gently. Queen of the realm, what you want is very costly to make. I fear there may not be enough money in all the royal coffers to create such magnificent things. Queen Goharshad smiled. Then I will sell my gold and my diamond crown to help build it. Your Majesty, I beg you not to do that. Kavam al-Din Shirasi cried. Selling your crown is too great a sacrifice. It has never been done. Until now, she replied calmly. I'm not afraid to do it, so do not be afraid either. Queen Goharshad sold all the bright jewels that adorned her hair. She sold her necklaces, anklets, bangles, earrings, and rings. And yes, then she sold her diamond crown. The following summer, the people of Herat lined the hot, dusty roads to see the spectacle. Down from the mountains of Badakhshan, camels entered the city laden with gems. When the camel drivers unwrapped their bulging leather bags, people marveled at the enormous rocks of emerald, topaz, ruby, and lapis lazuli, bluer than the sky. From across Asia, Queen Goharshad summoned stonemasons, potters, woodcarvers, glassblowers, and painters to work in Herat. For more than a year, workers ground the glittering jewels into powder to make paint. Then artists used the paint to decorate clay tiles baked in the desert sun. They painted millions of tiles with prayers and poems, with birds and flowers, vines and trees. She wanted to be braver with beauty than she had ever been before. And she was. She wanted to make the most beautiful buildings that ever soared into the heavens. And she did. The years ran swiftly as water. When Shahrukh died, Queen Goharshad reigned over the kingdom alone. She was no longer a young girl. One night she sensed death waiting near. Standing on the palace terrace and gazing up at the sky, she did not feel like a queen. She felt tiny compared to the foreverness of time and space. 1 million, maybe 100 million years from now, the stars would still shine. But the bright things of her empire were made by human hands. How long, she wondered, would they shine? Queen Goharshad died, and much died with her. Over the next 5 centuries, weather, the cruelest of conquerors, ruined much of what she had built. Floods, earthquakes, and wind broke and wore away her beautiful creations. What remained, war destroyed. Today in Herat, the buildings lie in ruins. The school is gone, the library is gone, the palace is gone. The mosque, too, is gone. Only a few minarets remain, dune-colored and bruised. In the center of the ruins, Queen Goharshad's tomb sits lonely in a field of landmines. The garden, once filled with blossoms and sparkling with water, is dirt. Everything is gone, but the memories are not. Now at Goharshad's tomb, an old man, weighed down by war, sweeps the cracked marbled floor. He pulls weeds. After midday prayer, he picks through the rubble. With his stiff hands, he digs out pieces of broken tile. In the light of the sun, the pieces still glow with the color of ancient jewels, emerald, topaz, ruby, and lapis lazuli, bluer than sky. Day after day, year after year, the old man piles up the pieces by color. And because in our dreams beauty lives forever, he sees in his mind a city far from now, past or future, he cannot say. He knows only that it is where even the laughter of God might be heard, a place bold with ideas and brave with beauty.